Welcome back to another episode of It's Cryptic Out There. I'm your host, Justin. And Julia's right there filling in for Josh because he's currently, he's away. Where are you right now?
Well, first of all, hello to all my ghouls, gas, and witches out there. Love y'all.
Yes.
So last week I was out in the national parks looking around for homeless feral people.
Yeah.
And didn't find them, but I did get knocked unconscious and awoke 3 days later, and I ended up in this little area. I'm not real sure where I am.
Oh my god!
But yeah, I know, it's exciting, and I'm trying to learn a little bit about this Joe Metheny guy.
Yes, today we'll be talking about something very disturbing. Like we said before, we do a lot of local stuff, but we're trying to branch out into nationwide cases. And today is a very disturbing and gross one. Let me just pop up a photo of the guy who we were talking about. Yeah, he's disgusting looking. So,
with all disrespect.
Yes. He done terrible things. So, I guess we'll just start off. Are you ready? Because you don't know the story, Julia.
Yeah, I'm in the dark here.
Yes. All right. Joe Metheny was born in 1955 and started out living in Baltimore, Maryland, with his mother and father. They moved to West Virginia when he was only 2 years of age. With there not being much about his childhood, his family struggled to make ends meet with raising 6 children. So, doing research, it's weird because there's some names that I couldn't find out that you would think would be easy to find, but they weren't.
Do you know what part of West Virginia?
I don't.
Okay.
Yeah. That's the thing. The story's kind of vague at times. It's weird.
Yeah.
Or I'm just a terrible researcher. Either or. Oh, by the way, if you guys are watching, different setup. I was just on the other side of the room, and we were, customizing the podcast studio, so...
He moved it over here.
Yeah, with a bunch of this aesthetics.
We picked it up, and we moved it over there.
Thank you for getting that, Josh.
Yes.
The bullworm from SpongeBob, the Alaskan bullworm.
Yeah. So...
You want to know the reference.
He moved to West Virginia when he was 2 years of age. With there not being much of his childhood, his family struggled to make ends meet with raising 6 children. It is said that his father struggled with alcohol, which is up in the air if that made their situation worse. More than likely, it
Probably.
did. It did. Yeah.
Yeah.
I assumed. Let's see.
I just want to say...
Yeah, go ahead.
I went to look up because I wanted to see if we could find where he's at.
Mm-hmm.
And unfortunately, for this poor soul, there's already a Joseph Metheny of Bridgeport, West Virginia, who's on LinkedIn. And I'm sorry you share that name, boss.
Exactly.
What if that's like
his...
Wait, what year did all this happen?
The
76 to 97, right? Is when he committed his murders.
Yeah.
It's his son.
It might be.
Yeah.
We'll get to that. Okay. So, it is said, okay. And it's not great. More sadness struck when his father was killed in a car accident in the year of 1961. So, yeah.
Wow.
Not off to a great start.
Not at all. Trying to find a better solution to raising all the children, Joe's mother moved them back to Baltimore as she would work various jobs. Was the death of his father, did it help play a part in Joe's later endeavors? A possibility. Because at a young age, kids seem to feel abandonment, even if it was, an accidental death. So, at a young age, his death could have shown a sign of abandonment, even though his father's death wasn't intentional. As a teenager, Joe dropped out of school when he was in the 8th grade. It is said that this was due to support his family and search for odd jobs. When he was 18, Joe joined the Army, and that was in 1973. While serving, Joe's bizarre behavior seemed to have begun. He cut communication with his family for 2 years and then was honorably discharged from the Army. He moved back to Baltimore and reunited with his mother and siblings. However, his family would catch him lying about being heroic on the battlefield when his service was not involved with war during the time. So he talked about like Vietnam, but they weren't even over there during the time he was serving.
That's what I
It
was
sounds
wondering
like
when you said the
stolen
year.
valor.
Yeah, exactly.
Like stolen valor from somebody who's already in the military.
Yeah.
Like, bro, you already did it.
Right.
Probably just like a deep-rooted need to like get attention.
Yeah.
How many children did you say there were?
Apparently 6.
6?
Yeah.
I mean, that's a lot of kids if you think about it.
It is.
I only grew up with a brother.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't imagine, 4 more of those little bastards running around.
He would continue telling stories and praise himself. Surprisingly, Joe came out of the Army with a high school certificate and an education in physics.
All
Oh
right.
my gosh.
Like,
And
what?
Great work.
So far, Joe's doing great.
Yeah.
He's beat the
He's
odds.
lying a little bit, and that's a red flag.
Yeah.
But we're not at full, batting the hatches. Things are bad.
Right. But we're getting there.
Oh,
It's building up.
thank you.
He never used this, though, his, physics education. However he got that in the Army, I don't know. He never used this, though, and would follow in his mother's footsteps, finding low-paying odd jobs. Substance abuse started when he served in the war, or in the Army. And when he was back in the States, he would spend his money on alcohol.
Well, that was common at the time.
Yeah. Visiting Baltimore bars and getting trashed every night playing pool, his bizarre, violent behavior arose. The later the nights got, the more substance abuse he would do, including drugs such as heroin. Joe spent time with drug dealers and homeless homeless shelters as he became broke and homeless. He spent most of his time at a shelter called Tent City.
Ooh.
Joe being a complete mess, the community actually liked him. When he was sober, at least.
Of course.
They would ironically call him Tiny. The 6'1", over 200-pound man had a friendly personality when not abusing his mental and physical self. This was all in the 1990s during this time. Joe had a switch. Nice guy when sober, violent guy when intoxicated. He loved fighting and being dominant towards others. He liked to humiliate people when he was under the influence.
Now, I am no psychologist, nor do I have any degree in psychology. I'm technically a college dropout if you think about it.
Okay.
And
Thank you.
just my opinion on this is, I think when people get drunk like that and their demons are angry, you think about it, his dad was an alcoholic.
Yeah.
Who's to say that when his dad got drunk, he humiliated him, he bullied him, he was super rude to him.
Yeah.
So when he gets drunk, that same part comes out of him, whereas other people can get drunk and feel nothing.
Yeah.
Like no sort of emotion. They might get super sappy or emotional or something, but not that angry. I feel like most of the time when people have that when they drink and they get angry, there's a root cause there that they're trying to mask with being drunk.
Yeah. And I was trying to do research on if his father was ever super abusive like that, and all of the sources I saw was it could have been, but there's no proven evidence, I guess. So he then met a woman, and I am unsure of what her name was.
Things are looking up, right?
Yeah. This is one of the things where I couldn't find the lady's name. I read that it was Latifah or Rachel.
Maybe she's in the witness protection program now.
Yeah.
It was either Latifah or Rachel.
Well,
Okay.
Latifah, Rachel, if you're out there,
Yeah, dude.
God.
Yeah.
Call the
Sorry.
hotline.
Call that
Yeah. Justin, what's the number?
540-358-1583.
All right, Latifah, Rachel, you heard the number. Let's
Yeah.
give them a call.
So apparently they married, allegedly, and
Alright.
they had a son.
wow.
They had a son named Matt. Maybe the name Matt might have been it. I couldn't find the real child's name.
Huh.
So we need to watch film and do better.
There must be a documentary that says it.
I don't know.
I don't know. But if anybody knows the story, you could call the hotline or text the hotline 540-358-1583.
You beat me to it, baby.
Yep. It is strange that I could not find, who these people were. Joe tried to get his life straight and finally found a steady job working on a forklift. His coworkers trusted him and thought he was a great problem solver.
Ooh.
He was great at figuring out solutions. This would later help him out in his violent endeavors.
Dun dun.
Joe and his new family lived in a trailer, and one day after work, he returned home to find an empty trailer. He was a frantic mess because he knew his wife ran off with his son. So apparently, he thought they ran away, leaving him alone. So this is where I found this article, and it's a very shitty article because there's a lot of misspelled words and it just grammatically is just incorrect. But it seems to go with the story from like Wikipedia and everything because it has a good timeline. But he was searching for his 6-year-old son. It was in July 1994, and his wife was apparently addicted to crack. Joe found out her whereabouts 6 months later. So this has been, half a year of trying to find his son. His ex-wife lived with his camel, the person who provided him drugs. I don't know if that's the correct name. That could be like
You would think that they'd call him a mule. Like a drug mule?
Yeah.
Someone who carries drugs, but a drug camel? I ain't never heard of that before.
Me neither.
The camel's probably like the head honcho, and then the mule is like the middleman.
That makes sense.
That's a good point.
Yeah. But the authorities had to put in adoption for the child after accusing them of negligence and child abuse. So the kid actually was like, they're abusing me. Joe blamed them for losing the little boy. Oh, okay. So the drug dealer and the mother was abusing the child. And Joe found out. Joe blamed them for losing the little boy, but he couldn't get him back because of his criminal record. So at the time, Joe, he had some charges. So Metheny's known and connected kills began in 1995. A few months after his drug addict wife left him and took their 6-year-old son, in a rage, he brought an axe to a location under a bridge where he thought her drug dealers would be lurking. Instead, he found 2 homeless men and allegedly chopped them to death. Metheny was later acquitted for those murders, but is largely believed to have committed them. So he got away with that, allegedly.
So he went down there to find them and they weren't there, so he was like, well, that'll do.
They're good enough.
Gotta project it onto somebody.
Isn't that sick?
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's only like what Michael Myers and Jason Voorhees does in every slasher film.
You're in my way. Alright. Metheny told police that he killed 3 more unrelated individuals on the same night. He said he weighed their bodies down with rocks and threw them in a nearby river. And he was on a rampage.
Yeah, he was.
Drunken rage, probably.
3 years later, divers searched the location but found nothing. The case was dropped due to a lack of evidence. Jesus Christ. Didn't he admit to it?
Get it together.
But that's the thing. He does seem like a constant liar.
Exactly, yeah.
I mean, even when you go in his Wikipedia, just based off what you told us, him saying that I served in Vietnam and I did all these things like a war hero, but you didn't.
Yeah.
That's probably
And
what
that
he says in
sounds-
the interrogation room. He's like,
I
served!
Yeah, I was a war hero.
Just a compulsive liar with like this mass ego,
Yep.
I think that's the thing, wanting to be like, you can't be powerless if you're the one in power.
Yep. Later in 1995, Metheny said he lured crack whores, specifically Kathy Ann Magaziner, who was 45, and Kimberly Spicer, who was 26, to his trailer near the food stand. He killed, dismembered, and partially ate them prior to preparing their remains as burger meat.
Well, that is just like straight up unnecessary, first of all.
This is a nightmare.
Yeah, that is disgusting.
Yes. I want to read pretty much his confession.
Is he still alive?
I don't think so, but I can look it up.
I believe it said he died in 2017.
Yeah, it was
in
like
prison.
Yeah.
I was gonna say we should call the jail that he's at.
Yeah. So his confession. To start out, I would tell you about myself at the present moment, which is locked up. I am 48 years old. I weigh about 450 pounds, and it's not all fat.
What?
Yeah. I've been locked up for almost 8 years now, but when one has been sentenced to a couple of life without parole sentences, time doesn't matter anymore. I have no problem with being locked up. For no one put me here but myself, and I deserve to be right where I'm at, because I had 12 law-abiding jurors and told me so in a couple different cases. Haha. I was only convicted of 2 murders and 1 kidnapping for the one that I got away with. I got 50 years for her. The first murder, I was sentenced to life without parole. The second one, they gave me the death penalty. I sat on Maryland's death row for 3 years, and then they overturned my sentence and gave me another life without parole and sent me down here for the rest of my life. I killed 7 people, 3 men, 4 women. 2 men I chopped up with an axe under a bridge in South Baltimore. I was found not guilty for them because they couldn't prove I did it. Under the same bridge, I also killed 2 women and 1 man who was fishing, who just happened to be in the wrong place at the wrong time. I weighed their bodies down and put them in the river. I showed the police where I put them about 3 years later, but they couldn't find them, so they could not charge me for them. My murder rampage started out as revenge, but ended up as a passion for the taste of blood and the overwhelming sense of power one gets for taking the life of another. Yeah, it happened because his ex-wife took his son away from him. So I guess that ignited the fire.
Yeah, man. You never know what anyone is truly capable of or what they have hidden down deep inside of them, but
yeah,
ultimately your environment is what molds you and what creates you, and it sounds like as most murderers, mass murderers, his childhood didn't seem that great. Because it sounds like his mom is being like, no, he had a great childhood. And if he says he didn't, he's a liar.
Yeah.
Well, to me, that makes it sound like you are probably a liar.
Yeah.
You know? Like, you're
they
pushing
all
it all
are.
on him.
Yeah, they all are.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, and, you know, it just bred that. And unfortunately, like, you know, you think of this, like, those kind of serial killers, they never murder their parents, you know?
Right.
They always take it out on innocent people because they were the innocent one in the situation.
And they could be possibly still scared of their parents in a weird way.
True. Yeah. Yeah.
He told his story, and I'm going to read it. It all started back in July of 1994. I was at work. I was a truck driver. I was working overtime this one night. Then I got off and went home as I always did. But when I opened the door and turned on the light, I noticed there was nothing there. As we, discussed about his ex-wife and his son leaving. My old lady had taken everything, including my son, and left me. Her leaving was not my problem, but she took my 6-year-old son with her. She was a crack addict and a worthless piece of shit. I would have paid her to get out of my life. All she had to do was take my son over to my mother's house, and she could have had everything else and be gone.
Well, if she was this bad, why was he a truck driver? Like, okay, that's your job, whatever. You can't help. You have to be away from home a lot. Whatever.
Yeah.
But, like, if she's that bad to where, he knows that she's a crack addict, all this stuff, why was he leaving this child that's his unattended with her for probably days and days at a time, you know? And, of course, like, he just said the mom is right up the road. Take the kid up the road to her.
Yeah.
If she's that bad. Was she that bad?
Who knows? It could just be all these people are just shitty.
Yeah, And it might not even be that they mean to be shitty. Yeah. It's just like circumstantially, like there are some people who think that the best way to treat somebody on drugs is to just either shy away from them and never talk to them because they've made their bed, they need to lay in it, And then there's other people who want to try and help,
Yeah.
But also when you think of the time period, they weren't as open to that. To drugs or really mental health or anything at the time compared to what it is now.
Yeah. So it continues. I found out about 6 months later she had moved on the other side of town with some asshole that had her out selling her ass for drugs. They got busted for drugs and they took my son away from them for child neglect and child abuse. I had no chance of going to social services and trying to get my son back due to my past criminal record. So I took it upon myself with the hatred I had for these two who lost my son to go looking for them. I had found out from someone that they were going under that bridge and getting high with some homeless motherfuckers who lived under that bridge. I went under there looking for them. They were not there, but the two homeless motherfuckers they got high with were down there. They were passed out on some old stinking mattress, and that's where they were when I left. Except they were dead from being chopped up.
What if he had the two wrong homeless motherfuckers? What if the other two were out of the office that day?
Jeez, that would be even worse. God.
Yeah. Now you're extra innocent.
Jesus. And sorry about the explicit content, but this is a heavy one.
Yeah.
That same night, I lured the first crack whore down under that bridge. I got her high and was trying to get information out of her about my old lady's whereabouts.
He's a hypocrite.
She acted like she didn't know. Yeah, there's random knocks in my apartment. I think it's haunted. So if you guys heard that in the background,
I think it's just the neighbors.
It might be, but it sounded like it was from like right there. Okay, let's continue. the crack whore under the bridge. I got her high and was trying to get information out of her about my old lady's whereabouts. She acted like she didn't know where, so I beat the hell out of her and raped her ass, then killed her. Jesus Christ. I put her in some bushes and went and lured the second bitch down there. Jesus Christ.
He had to have, that had to have been like an hour apart, though. You know,
She
wasn't just like waiting at the end of the corner
super
for her
long
turn.
night.
You know.
I did the same to her as the last one, but as I was about to throw her in the bushes with the other one, I noticed an old black man down by the river fishing, looking back up at me. I grabbed a steel pipe that was lying by and ran down on him and laid his head wide open. So I put the two girls and him in the river and weighed them down with rocks. That was a very busy night for me, 5 murders within about 7 hours. I washed up in that river and cleaned up the crime scene as much as I could, then left. 2.5 weeks later, I was arrested and charged with the murders of the 2 men I chopped up. I spent close to 18 months in Baltimore City jail waiting to go to trial. The trial lasted 1 week and it was thrown out of court because of lack of evidence.
Wow.
I was free again. I went back and talked to my old boss into giving me my job back at the pallet company. There was a little trailer on the property, so I told my boss to let me stay there and I could keep an eye on the place. He agreed to this and gave me the keys to the front gate and main building. The company was... Go ahead.
What a dumbass.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah, you just got
Both
out of
of
prison,
them.
yeah. Oh, you can live here? Oh, yeah, sure, whatever.
Yeah.
I don't care. Doesn't matter to me.
But, he was likable when sober.
Yeah?
He was a sociopath.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
Narcissistic sociopath.
That bastard.
The company was on a dead-end road and was very isolated. It was perfect for what I was wanting to do. I lured 2 more crack whores up there to my trailer.
Oh my god.
I killed and butchered their bodies up. I cut the meat up and put it in some Tupperware bowls, then put it in the freezer. I buried the remains in several shallow graves in a little woods behind the company. Over the next couple weeks, on the weekends, I opened up a little open pit beef stand. I had real roast beef and pork sandwiches, and why not? They were very good. The human body taste was very similar to pork. If you mix it together, no one can tell the difference.
How was he just like luring all these crack whores randomly? Did he have like a dog whistle for crack whores?
I guess where he was addicted to drugs, he
I guess
knew
the
people.
whistle is like, I don't know.
Yeah, he knew people.
Yeah, I was going to say, I'm sure if he knew the right people to go to, especially if he was charming,
Yeah,
you know?
he doesn't look
Okay.
charming.
Yeah, he doesn't. That's
Well,
the thing.
Everyone loves ugly babies, right?
Everything was going pretty good until I ran out of special meat. Human meat.
Had to go get more.
So I lured another bitch up to my trailer. I
Wow,
got
that's
her...
vulgar language, sir.
Yeah, I got her in there and started to rip her clothes off and knocking the hell out of her. She was screaming, but there was no one around to hear her except me. And I just kept on laughing at her. God, that's a terrible thing to just picture. I turned around for a split second, and that was my mistake. For she ran out of the door before I could get to her. There was an 8-foot chain link fence and barbed wire on top of it around the front of the company. There was a stack of wooden pallets next to the fence about 10 feet high. That bitch scaled those pallets like a monkey and jumped the fence and ran down to the main road where some guy in a pickup truck picked her up and took her to the nearby gas station where
Good
they
for
called
her.
the cops. Well, I knew the cops were on the way, but I didn't run. I gathered up her clothing, grabbed the keys to the gate, and went out and opened it. Soon as I stepped out of the gate, a cop car pulled up, and the cop jumped out and pulled his gun on me and told me to get on the ground. And that is where it all came to an end. They took me down and booked me. She had told them that I had said I was going to kill her like the rest, which was true. They had me sitting in a little room down at homicide, drilling me and damn near kissing my ass, trying to find out what I had done. They pulled me out of city jail every day for 1 month, taking me back and forth between the company and the bridge. I had them going crazy over at the company, digging up the remains of the 2 bitches there, because I had their remains buried in 7 different holes. The only thing I feel bad about in any of this is I didn't get to murder the 2 motherfuckers I was really after. And that's my ex, old lady, and the bastard she got hooked up with. Well, that's my story. Horrible, but true. So the next time you're hiding down the road, you happen to see an open pit beef stand that you've never seen before, make sure you think about this story before you take a bite of that sandwich. Sometimes you never know what you may be eating. Ha ha.
That's the story, and he's sticking to it.
That is this. God, Jesus.
This is all satire to him.
It really is.
You
That's
can
what
tell.
makes it even more disturbing.
This is funny to him.
It means nothing, you know, like him making that statement is like his final little power trip.
Yeah.
Of being able to be like, I'm going to say this because no matter what, I'll stick with people forever.
Yeah.
And I'll always be there, you know?
Yeah.
And I think it's easy for us to, like, talk about stuff like this and crack jokes every now and then, but, like, this is real.
Like, it's...
Yeah.
Like,
this is not satire.
How
you know?
he's wording it is, like, dark humor. Like, it's like... It doesn't even seem real. That's why it's, like, outrageous, you know?
To him, his murders and everything, like, the way that he described that in that story is... I mean, he laughed in that girl's face while he was trying to rape her.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, this
like
is
a
a joke to him, you know? Like,
God
that power,
complex.
if he has power over you, then to him, it's his entertainment. That's what he gets joy out of, you know?
Right.
And so, like, that story that he made right there, his confession, that's his entertainment, you know? His way to make it be like, ha ha, like, yeah, you may have caught me, but doesn't matter to me.
Right. I don't want to eat...
hate you, Joe Metheny.
I don't want to eat hamburgers
Glad you're
anymore.
dead.
I don't want to eat hamburgers
seriously.
anymore. Jesus Christ.
You never know.
Right?
Yeah, you never know.
So, like he said, if you see a random beef stand, which the only stands I see really is like hot dog stands.
Man, I don't even see those. I usually see, like, fruit stands.
I
Yeah.
don't think if I ever saw either of the two, though, I'd be like, oh, yeah.
Right.
Hold on, honey, we gotta pull over.
Let's get some...
Real quick, I'll make it quick, I promise.
Get some ground
no.
beef.
Yeah, next thing you know, you're getting damn wrong turn or left or whatever that movie is.
Yeah,
Get
yeah.
Jeepers Creepered.
You pull a
There we
fingernail
go.
out of it or something.
Yeah. Oh, God.
Yeah.
Or a
Like,
hair.
oh, great, of course. Now I'm stuck in this situation.
Yeah.
You go back to your car, now your car won't start. You're like, oh, fantastic.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's all I have with Joe Metheny. I just thought we could share something outrageous and something different, something non-local, because even though we do local cases, because, like, small town, you know, stories that we usually do are so weird.
Mm-hmm.
Like, mainstream crimes are like, yeah, we get it. But, like,
Yeah.
you know, stories that a lot of people don't hear, and there's more into it when you can dig deeper and find stuff, it gets weird.
Honestly, like, the mainstream stories, they almost become like a, oh man, like a tale almost.
Yeah.
You know, it becomes like cinema. It becomes a movie.
Exactly.
It's real, but it just becomes theatrical.
Right.
Yeah.
And when you think of real people committing real murders and things like that, like there's no documentary about it. It's just someone went postal in their grocery store or something, or found somebody and killed them or something. Like, that's very interesting.
Yeah.
Because those people, like, some people might not be psychopaths or
right.
sociopaths or something like that, you know?
Yeah.
They might just be, like, they may have just murdered someone in the moment,
yeah.
you know, or something like that.
And with this show being, you know, cryptic, mysterious, the small town local cases that a lot of people don't know, like, for example, that I think his name's David Montgomery,
yeah.
Yeah, like, I never knew anything about that, but then when I've been doing this podcast, everyone's like, you should, like, look into him because he's, like, notorious around this area. I'm like, okay.
Dude, the amount of stories that my Mama has, I think he actually worked for my dad.
Yeah.
When my dad was over in maintenance at the old hospital, I think he was part of, like, a contracting team or something.
Yeah.
Like, things like that. And just, like, for one story that I always heard from my grandfather is that they would be at a gas station and he would get on top of the gas pumps and jump off and spread eagle onto the concrete chest first.
That's...
Do that, like, 5 times.
That's insane.
Just get up and walk away. Yeah, that is insane. And I think his dad used to be the sheriff of Giles at one point.
Really?
He had 2 brothers who were also cops. Yeah, David Montgomery was a Marine, too.
We're going to have to, like, continue this.
Yeah, put a pin in that, please.
Put a pin in it.
Yeah, actually, once we get off here, there is some things, because he was actually trying to pay somebody to do a biography of him. Like, he put a thing out in the paper. I think he's recently died, though.
Yeah, I think well, I'm not going to say... We'll just leave it there, because I think I know how he died. But, yeah. I'll tell you. So, Joe Metheny, glad you're dead, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, dude.
He died in prison in 2017.
Ugly, you're a terrible person.
He just looks evil. Yeah.
Yeah. And a lot of people are probably going to be like, I can't believe you'd say that. Say what? About a murderer who enjoyed killing these people? I mean, come on.
Yeah.
I ain't giving somebody sympathy. Like, I'm sorry the things that happened to you, but ultimately you really did enjoy what you did.
Yeah, he loved to eat people. Like, as it says, the taste of the human body was similar to that of pork, and nobody could tell the difference. And he called it his special meat.
Bye.
Yeah, so I don't appreciate anybody who calls other people their special meat.
Yeah. So I found he passed away August 5th, 2017, after 20 years in prison. He was found dead in his cell at the Western Correctional Institution in Cumberland, Maryland. He was 62 years old.
How did he die?
And had no blame for the atrocities committed. It doesn't say.
Probably a heart attack.
Something. But yeah, it's weird because some of this stuff was vague, this research, but it was just too, outrageous to not talk about.
Yeah, for real.
Yeah. So, I guess that's it for this episode. Josh, are you still surviving out there, wherever you are?
I gotta be honest. I have no clue if I'll ever make it home.
You should send me your location.
We could send him one of those things like from the Hunger Games where they drop down they have like the drones that drop the care packet.
Yeah.
Like how is your phone still charged?
Yeah.
Yeah, great question. Even better idea, honestly, if a care package being flown to me. I honestly can only think that I am either in the Twilight Zone.
I mean, you might be.
It's just cryptic out there.
There you go. You beat me to it this time.
That's right.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
So if you guys like this episode and you like the show, please 5-star it on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Leave a review. Tell me or tell us what you think about the episode, suggestions. if you have, advice for Josh how to get out of wherever he's at, please do, because he needs to be in the studio.
Maybe we'll start a GoFundMe for a care package.
The best way, honestly, I think everyone, once this is posted, everyone should just come back on the Facebook post and just give me advice.
Yeah.
Just assume I have nothing and be like, just tell me what you would do.
Right.
You're out in the middle of the West Virginia wilderness.
Yeah. Because it's going on 2 months trying to get Josh in the studio, he's just
so many patches by now.
Yeah.
You think about it. We'll also include in the care package all of your patches that you've probably earned by now.
Yeah.
True. Yeah, I am the best Boy Scout.
Yeah. Were you a Boy Scout?
I remember doing the Pinewood Derby cars.
Okay.
And that's about it.
Okay. I just remember going to I guess the church that my brother would go to for Boy Scouts. I never joined, but I was too much of a mama's boy. I didn't want to leave mom.
Hey man, we love our mama.
Exactly. So
I ain't upset about it either.
So 5-star of the show if you like it or whatever. If you have suggestions and you would like to, or if you have stories about anything that might interest us, call the hotline. It's right here. 540-358-1583. You can call. There's a 3-minute limit.
So
you could just call again for another 3 minutes if the story is longer. You could even text, and it's free.
Ooh,
There's no charge.
Free.
Yes.
Free of
I'm
charge.
sure someone, I'm honestly sure someone out there has experienced something, especially if you listen to this podcast. You've experienced something that you can't explain. So genuinely, think deep. Think deep about something that you've tried to write off as this just happened or that just happened.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be.
Deeper.
It doesn't have to be horrific. It could just be very mysterious.
Ooh.
I think you're
Some
still
might
asking
even
for a
say-
lot.
We might be asking for a lot.
Yeah, just maybe if you think about something you can't quite remember, you heard about this, you've heard a couple other people saying something about this too, it might be worth looking into.
There you go.
Hearsay
My
and
brain.
folklore.
Thanks, Julia.
Seriously, it's great she's here.
Yeah.
Better perspective than what I think we can give sometimes.
Yeah.
I think a good show we should do is about lucid dreams, because I've had one.
Yes.
I've had one that
You're gonna have to come in for that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, 2 of them that were
Lucid dreams and sleep paralysis. I've had that several times, and that is not fun at all.
I think I may have had it once, but I also don't know.
You know, it's weird. Sleep paralysis, I have to lay a certain way. I know exactly the position I need to lay in to have it, so I try to avoid it at all costs. It's very weird.
Wow, man.
Yeah.
Are you okay?
No.
Oh no, dude.
No.
If anyone can help Justin's sleep paralysis, Justin, what number should they call?
540-358-1583. That's the Cryptic Hotline.
We need help with that. A care package set up for Josh.
Yeah.
I'm good.
Well, at least one of us are.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm good, but we could use some assistance.
Yeah. That'd be great.
Good vibes.
So let's end this show now before we just keep rambling on about what we need in our life.
You call it rambling. I call it talking to my lovelies.
Yes.
My little ghouls, gas, and witches.
Yes.
Thank you.
So, thank you all for listening. Thank you all for watching. And lastly, watch your back. It's cryptic out there.